Welcome to this week's episode. Today we are going to explore the old town of London, where the book Great Expectations take place. Come along!
Great Expectations was written by the iconic author of the 19th century called Charles Dickens.
He was born in Hampshire, but then later on moved to Kent, London, where he lived out his last days and died. That is also the same place where he lets his protagonist of the book be born and raised. Great Expectations is a book about a young boy's journey through life. The readers get to enjoy his story, including mixed feelings, the climbing of the social ladder, and moral dilemmas. Sympathy and guilt are two of the feelings Pip gets to experience during the book. One night, outside of London, he meets a convict who's just escaped from prison. He feels a great deal of sympathy for this convict and helps him break loose of his chains. He gives him food, and even though the convict is mean to him, feels a great deal of compassion.
Although Pip felt a great deal of sympathy for this convict, he also felt a lot of guilt for helping him. He felt guilt for helping the criminal and for lying to his family about the incident. This incident would also come to haunt him for a great deal of time and would eventually change his life forever.
When Pip receives a large amount of money as a thankful gesture from a convict he once helped, he starts enjoying a new, luxurious lifestyle with new friends in London. At the time, this doesn't affect him directly, but in the future it comes to cause him a great deal of pain. An example of this is when his sister dies and he regrets that he stopped visiting her because of his new luxurious lifestyle.
The story ends with Pip returning to London after traveling the world. He gets reunited with a childhood sweetheart, and the books get a relatively happy ending, with Pip believing his life will be happy from now on.
This isn't the novel's original ending, but an alternative. In the first edition of the ending, Pip reunites with his childhood sweetheart under much colder circumstances than in the printed final version. Since a friend of Dickens said that the less romantic ending wouldn't be as appealing to the audience as an alternative, more romantic one, he decided to change it into a much more positive ending.
Some critics have felt that the original version is more true to the tone of the rest of the novel, while others says that the common past of the two lovers were destined to be true.
Behind me, we got the Kennington Palace, at the time home of Queen Victoria, who also gave name to the entire Victorian era. Speaking of Queen Victoria and the Victorian age, the parallels between Dickens, his book, and the Victorian era are many. One of the main themes being that social class is clearly a projection of Victorian class society. In the Victorian era, social class was crucial. It was something that identified an individual and a family, and something that differentiated people from each other. Only the upper class had political power, and many times the lower classes lived in horrible conditions. This is clearly reflected in the book. The first time Pip meets his sweetheart Estella and her mother, he is impressed by their lifestyle and wealth. After this, Pip focuses a big part of his time to achieve higher social status and to climb the social ladder. It is clear that Great Expectations is a reflection of Dickens being a product of his time, considering the many obstacles produced by a segregated society and Pip's lack of social status and class.
Charles Dickens.
He was born in Great Expectations is a novel about a young boy's life through journey. Great Expectations is a book about a young boy's journey. Great book. Sympathy and guilt. Guilt.
He helps this convict to break loose from his chains and he gives him food. Pip feels a great sympathy for the convict, and he decides to help him by giving him food and providing him with a file to erase his chains.
Va?
File?
Although Pip...
Pulp Fiction, prata högre.
Although Pip... Although...
Sluta, Johannes, bara kör.
Jag blev distraherad. Du förstår ju inte mina känslor här.
Kan det bara vara tyst och köra?
Ska jag vara tyst och köra?
Men sluta!
When Pip perceives... when Pip perceives... when Pip perceives... when Pip receives a large amount of money...
He's no longer poor!
When Pip perceives... when Pip receives a large amount of money as a thankful gesture...
Förlåt, jag bara
he starts hanging out with new peeps, cool friends, new lifestyle. Yeah.
Luxurious!
Luxurious.
Gör det.
Böjde mer.
Sluta, Johannes, vi har inte tid för det här.
Det är jättefint där inne.
Och jag bryr mig inte nu.
And he decides to help him by giving him food and helping him break loose from his chains. Here we got the Buckingham...
Det är jättebra, fast ännu starkare.
Here we got the Buckingham Palace.
Here we got the Buckingham Palace.